Hello, we are discussing about GATE 1990 ECE paper, and this question is related to analog circuits. Look at the circuit diagram. This is basically a Class B complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier, okay? And the output of it is connected to a 5 ohm loudspeaker. And specifications of each power transistor is given as maximum collector current is limited to 2 amperes. Maximum power dissipation capability of each transistor is 1 watt. We are going to calculate maximum power delivered to the loudspeaker. If the maximum output voltage is plus or minus 15 volts. At this point, if you are going to get plus or minus 15 volts, what will be the maximum output power delivered to the load? That we are going to calculate as the first bit. And second one is nothing but if the transistors are mounted on a heatsink such that the power dissipation capability of the transistor is increased to 3 watts, then what will be the value of maximum power delivered to the load? These two things we are going to calculate for this one. Before calculating this one, first we will discuss about the Class B push-pull power amplifier. Okay. So this is a simple Class B push-pull power amplifier, and we are referring this one from the Microelectronics Seder and Smith textbook. Okay. So this will be consisting of one NPN transistor and one PNP transistor, so that it is called as complementary symmetry, since NPN and PNP are complementary of each other. And the output of this one is connected to a load RL, which is given as 5 ohms. If you are looking at ideally, if Vi is equal to, if V input is going to be greater than 0 volts, then Qn is going to be in the on condition and Qp will be in the off condition. So that only Qn conducts, current will come in this direction. And now this is the current, which is nothing but we can say it as IC1 is flowing. ICN, that is collector current due to NPN transistor is flowing. So only Qn is conducting, output is only due to current flowing through Qn only. And now the output is provided with the help of plus VCC. Now if you are going for the second case, okay, for the second case, if the input signal is going to be negative signal, at that time V input is less than 0 volts, then NPN transistor will be in the off condition and PNP transistor will be in the on condition. So that current is going to be in this direction, which you can call it as ICP. So current flowing through ICN, current flowing through ICP, both are going to be different. Both will be present. One will be present in during positive half cycle, the other will be present in during negative half cycle. So both the transistors doesn't conduct at a time. Remember that one. Okay. And if you are observing, during positive half cycle, whenever this NPN transistor is on, at the time current is pulled into load. Current is pushed into load. Whereas whenever PNP transistor is on, at the time current is pulled out of load. That's why this transistor is called as push-pull transistor, push-pull power amplifier. Okay. Whenever NPN is on, at the time current is pushing into load, and whenever PNP is on, current is pulling out of the load. Okay. But if you are speaking practically, on transistor for the amplifier is nothing but it must be in active region, because if a transistor acts as amplifier, at that time the necessary condition is nothing but it must be in active region. Active region is going to be specified with emitter base junction forward bias and collector base junction must be reverse bias. If for a transistor this condition satisfies, then we can say that the transistor is in active region. But emitter base junction forward bias is nothing but at least the emitter base voltage has to be equal to around 0.7 volts or 0.6 volts cut-in voltage. So make it as 0.6 volts. So if you are applying a positive voltage and that must be either greater than or equal to 0.6 volts, then only emitter base junction of transistor will be coming into forward bias so that a current flows, then it can act as amplifier. Similarly, for the PNP transistor, the negative voltage should be in magnitude, it was by minimum to 0.6 volts or greater, such that it will be coming into the active region. So if the input signal magnitude is going to be less than 0.6 volts, then even though you are applying input signal, at that time output will be approximated as 0 itself. No output will be provided if the input signal is within the 0.6 volts. And this range is going to be called as dead zone. Dead zone is nothing but even though the input signal is present, output is 0. This you can check with the help of diagrams like this. During positive half cycle, we know that one NPN transistor is on, so that only NPN transistor is conducting. So QN, collector current, ICN we can say it is. ICN is flowing during positive half cycle, so that it is conducting, whereas it is not conducting. This is IP. So current due to collector current due to P-type transistor, PNP transistor. So this is not conducting, and if you are observing negative half cycle, at that time this is not conducting NPN transistor and PNP transistor is conducting, and the total current is nothing but sum of both the things. So you are going to be getting a complete sinusoidal. This is total current. Total current is nothing but current flows in both the cycles. And if the input signal is going to be within the limits of plus or minus 0.6 volts, at that time output will be 0. That is what we are calling it as dead zone, where QN and QP, both the transistors are turned off. That distortion, if you are going to observe, that is the output will be 0 whenever the input signal is in between plus or minus 0.6 volts. Otherwise, whenever the input voltage is changing from this situation, you will get whenever the input voltage is going to be changing from positive to negative half cycle or negative to positive half cycle, this situation is going to be definitely going to occur. So for every signal, whenever the signal is changing, taking transition from positive to negative values or negative to positive values, definitely the value is going to be lesser than 0.6 volts. That will be giving an effect is called as crossover distortion. Crossover distortion is nothing but whenever a signal is going to be crossing from positive to negative or negative to positive, by the time output is suppressed, that is going to be giving distortion. Even though the signal is present, output is 0. So that is called as distortion. That type of distortion is going to be called as crossover distortion. And crossover distortion can be eliminated in so many different ways, but the main important we are going to consider one way of eliminating crossover distortion is this one. Reducing crossover distortion is applying an input. Instead of applying directly to the power amplifier, you are applying through an operational amplifier, where the operational amplifier is going to be acting as a buffer. So the output of this one and this is, if any one of the transistor is on, at that time simply you can think it is this is going to be acting as on switch. So these 2 points are going to be joined either during NPN transistor conducting or during PNP transistor is conducting. Then by that time that will be acting as short circuit since it is in the on condition, and then output is connecting back to input side. It is acting as buffer. So now this you can think it as operational amplifier is going to be acting as a buffer, and the output of this one is connecting to RL. This is simply, it's going to be, you will be known that one precision diode. Precision diode is going to be having a diode over this place. This is what precision diode, where you are applying V inputs, plus and it is minus. You are taking cross V0 over here, that is connecting towards some load RL. So Similarly, this diode is now replacing with power amplifier. So that the advantage is nothing but the signal present over here has to be 0.6 volts minimum to make it as, okay, either Qn or Qp has to be conducting. So if you are looking at this is under open loop, whenever the transistors are not conducting, then the output is not connecting towards input side. If the transistors are off, at that time the operational amplifier will not be having a closed loop. It will be under open loop. Under open loop, the input signal is nothing but simply Vi is equal to the input signal required over here is simply output by voltage gain A0. So this is very small. So now no need of 0.6 volts or greater if you apply very minute signal, because A0 is nothing but open loop gain which is very high, that is reducing the input signal required, okay, such that a small signal is going to be multiplied by open loop provided by the op amp, and if it is equal to 0.7 0.6 volts, by that time the corresponding transistor is going to be getting on, okay, so that the crossover distortion range can be reduced. Previously crossover distortion is present from plus 0.6 to minus 0.6. Now crossover distortion present. Crossover distortion. Now crossover distortion present between plus or minus, okay, plus or minus 0.6 by A0. This is the difference. Okay, so this is one method which is used to reduce crossover distortion, but it cannot be eliminated. So this method is not preferred. Why we are discussing this method is, this is the method which used in our question. Okay, now this is what our question. We are going to calculate maximum power delivered to the load if the output of power amplifier is subjected to plus or minus 15 volts, which are nothing but power supplies used for the op amp. Okay, so first we will go with the normal class B push pull power amplifier. For that one, how to calculate output power. Okay, simply it is a power amplifier. The basic function of power amplifier is to convert input DC power into output AC power. How effectively it is converting input DC power into AC power, that is called as efficiency is more. Okay, efficiency you can say it as output AC power divided by input DC power. How effectively an amplifier converts input DC power into output AC power, that will be giving the efficiency of that power amplifier. Okay, now we are going to calculate. This is first output AC power. This is what we are interested in. Output AC power. Output AC power, if you are saying it, this is what we are calling it as P0 AC. P0 AC. AC power is nothing but RMS power. By that time you can say it as V0 RMS multiplied by I RMS, that is IL RMS. IL RMS is nothing but load current. Load current is V0 by RL. So you can write it as V0 RMS into V0 RMS divided by RL, which is nothing but IL RMS. So this is V0 RMS square. And we know that one V0 is going to be having a sinusoidal signal, a full sinusoidal signal, that is looking like a full wave rectifier outputs. By that time RMS value is V0 maximum divided by root 2 whole square, because V0 RMS will get square, so that V0 RMS is equal to, you can write as V0 maximum by root 2 divided by RL. So output AC power is equal to V0 maximum square divided by 2 times of RL. So this is what output DC power, output AC power. Now this P0 AC will be maximum. P naught AC will be maximum because it is totally depending on the peak value of output signal, and so that if it is the peak value is maximum, then output AC power will be maximum. P naught AC will be maximum if V naught maximum is equal to maximum output signal. Maximum output signal is nothing but it has given that one VCC, that is plus or minus 15 volts. So if the output is reaches 15 volts, by that time you will get the maximum load power. Load power is going to be maximum, that is maximum power is delivered to load. So if you use P naught AC 15 square divided by 2 times of RL value is 5 ohms. So this will be equal to 22.5 watts. 22.5 watts you will get. This is the maximum AC power delivered to outputs. Okay, but let us see what is the efficiency and how much is the power dissipation takes place by the transistor, because this answer, even though you are getting the answer, this is going to be a wrong one. The question itself is going to be wrong. Okay, we will prove that one first. So similarly, we will calculate input DC power. Input DC power, that is nothing but DC input power. DC input power is nothing but DC power supplied by this plus VCC, DC power supplied by this minus VCC. And plus VCC is going to be supplying a current which is nothing but ICN, and this is going to be supplying a current ICP. And ICN is going to be half-wave rectified waveform, only conducts during positive half cycle. Okay, and ICP is going to be half-wave rectified waveform where it is conducting only for negative half cycle. Okay, so DC power is nothing but VCC into ICN DC plus minus VCC. We are going with only magnitude wise, so that this is due to positive power supply and it is due to negative power supply. That is nothing but ICP DC value. So total DC power is nothing but DC power contributed by both the power supplies, and each power supply is active only during half cycle. So that we are going to calculate both the things in this way. VCC and DC value of ICN is going to be treated as IC maximum divided by pi plus VCC into ICP is also same thing, ICP maximum, okay, divided by pi. ICP or ICN is nothing but equal to IL only, because sum of these two things is load current. So you can simply call it as VCC, 2 times of VCC, okay, into IL into IL maximum divided by pi. Okay, IL maximum divided by pi. IL maximum you can write it as V naught maximum by RL. So this is 2 VCC into V naught maximum divided by RL into pi. So this is DC input power, and if V naught is equal to VCC, if you assume the output is reaching maximum, then it will become 2 VCC square by pi RL. So P naught AC is equal to V naught maximum square divided by 2RL. Okay, and if it is VCC, at that time VCC square by 2RL, and PIDC is equal to 2 times of VCC into V naught maximum divided by pi RL. If V naught is reaching maximum, at that time 2 times of VCC square divided by pi RL. And if you take efficiency, at that time this is P naught AC divided by PI DC. Okay, and with respect to values, if you substitute VCC, okay, this you are going to be getting it as pi by 4, and if you are going with values, it is 22.5 watts and it is equal to 28.67 watts. So this is around 22.5 divided by 28.67, which is 78.47. That is 78.5%, which is ideal value. Okay, so if you calculated input DC power and output AC power, how much of input DC power is converted into output AC power, that gives higher efficiency. So the remaining is going to be drops across transistors. Since it has two transistors, the total power dissipated in both the transistors, power dissipated in transistors. Okay, total power dissipation is nothing but PIDC minus P0 AC, which is nothing but 28.67 minus 22.5. So which is equal to 6.16 watts. 6.16 watts, and due to symmetry, okay, here this is the total power dissipation takes by both the transistors, and if you look at the circuit diagram, at that time both transistors are going to be in arrangement, they are having symmetry, so each transistor takes half of this total power dissipation. So power dissipation across n transistor and pn, or power dissipation across PNP transistor, is going to be half of total power, which is nothing but 3.08 watts. So if the output is going to be maximum at plus VCC, then the efficiency is 78.5% and the power dissipation across the transistors is 6.16, and individually each transistor is dissipated 3.08 watts. But it has given in the question that power dissipation is only limited to 1 watt. Whenever it is limited to 1 watt, it can only tolerate 1 watt. It cannot tolerate more than that one. So this circuit doesn't operate. This circuit breaks down. Okay. Since PD maximum is equal to 1 watt, it is given in the question. Okay. So this circuit, okay, breaks down because transistors gets burn out. So because of that one, circuit gets breakdown. So the first answer is going to be, even though you are getting 22.5 volts, that's going to be a wrong one. And second case, if you are going with heat sinks, so that the power dissipation capability is going to be increased, and that too it has increased. This is for the first question, and now we are going to deal about second one. For second question, even though you are using heat sinks, the power dissipation capability is going to be limited to power dissipation maximum for each transistor is only increased to 3 watts, but minimum what it is going with is 3.08. So again the transistor circuit is going to be gets breakdown. So in both cases the circuit is not useful. Okay. So the remedy is nothing but either you have to increase, okay, you must increase the power dissipation rating of the transistors. You may get a doubt that one, what can be the maximum power dissipation across a transistor such that you can go with that type of rating. Okay, there is a condition for class B output stage, that is class B push-pull power amplifiers. Condition for maximum power dissipation in class B output stage, okay, that too push-pull power amplifier output stage, is maximum power dissipation is possible based on a condition. That condition is so power dissipation maximum for each transistor, okay, for each transistor is VCC square divided by pi RL, otherwise total power dissipation, total power dissipation, total power dissipation, the maximum power dissipation is nothing but 2 VCC square divided by pi RL. Okay, so if you are going to use, whenever VCC is equal to 15 volts at that time, this is the maximum power supply you are using VCC, so it is 15 square divided by pi into 5, then it will be equal to, okay, 9.1 watts you will get, 9.1 watts, 9.1 watts you will get. So each individual transistor is going to be taking around 4.55 watts. So you must take the transistor's power dissipation rating as greater than 4.55 watts so that they can tolerate, okay, for entire operation. So it is maximum power is nothing but always it will be less than that one only. Even if it is going for the maximum also, they can able to tolerate. The question is wrong if the question is given if the power dissipation for the first case as 5 watts and for the second case as given as 8 watts or some other thing. At that time you may get the answer as P naught is equal to P naught AC as 22.5 watts. This will be the answer if power dissipation rating is greater than 4.5 watts. Okay. And remember that one, even though if you are using heat sink, that doesn't change the output power dissipation, output power delivered. Okay, the value of the output power delivered will not be changed even though if you are using heat sink. Okay, heat sink, what is the function of heat sink is nothing but it only converts the power dissipated by the transistor effectively into surroundings. Okay, it doesn't affect the output power delivered. Remember this point. Thank you.